Welcome here to In Touch Fly Fishing. And I've got the brother from another mother, Igor Slavik, down here. He's back here in New Zealand, down in the South Island, and we've caught up for the last couple of days. What I want to catch up with Igor today about, though, and I've done this before but I haven't put it out there, and that's we're going to delve into an invention of Igor's, and that's the Recurka. So it's basically a ball of CDC. Igor is the inventor of this fly, and I'm sure you've seen it all around, but I'm a big believer in giving credit where credit's due, and there's a lot of companies and other anglers out there that have retied this fly, renamed this fly, and here we are. I want to catch up with Igor. What is the Recurka? He's fishing it right now here in the South Island. I first got to fish with Igor in 2014 when he came up to my home turf, and he pulled out this Recurka, which most of the top fly fishing competitors in the world know that this is Igor's fly. And he busted out on my home river, and all the fish just came straight up, munched it off the surface, and it's been a staple in my fly box ever since. So I'm going to catch up with him, get the background on the fly, and hopefully he can pull one up pretty shortly. So let's get into it. So, brother.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, it's epic to have you back here in New Zealand, and we're catching up today to talk about the history of Igor's invention, Igor's fly, the Recurka. I remember the first time that I ever saw this fly in action. Actually, I'm pretty sure you'll tell us all about it, but I'm pretty sure you developed it for the chubs.
Yeah. It was actually, I was sitting. It was 30 years ago. I was sitting in a tying bench, and I tried to make some really floatable dry fly, and I invented Rockerka. And it was just CDC put to the loop, some micro flash in a tip, and I tie it with red thread, so to make the head like red.
Yeah.
And the story behind is because I said to my wife that every good fly has nice name, and I showed the fly. Here it is. I showed like this to my wife, and I said, Sabina, every fly has a name because it's better for it. And she looked at it and said, it looks like Tina Turner. Let's call it Rockerka, because in our language it means Rockerka, it means rocker, but she.
Rocker? A girl rocker?
Yeah, girl rocker. Yeah, Rockerka. So this is the story behind.
So you didn't go with private dancer?
Simply the best. So and it was worked really well for chops.
Yep.
To the bank, few casts, and in smaller sizes it works really well for trouts, for grayling, even for grayling, and it's also possible to use it as a dry dropper.
Yeah. And we saw today that it actually floated two quite heavy nymphs on really hard water.
It depends how many
Yeah.
feathers you put on it.
So we'll give you a demonstration of how this is tied later when I actually get to the tying bench. But the first time that I had this fly in my box and from the World Championships in the Czech Republic, obviously for what it was invented for, the chubs. And that's fishing right on the edge, and their big juicy lips come out and they eat this ball of fluff. Yeah. And every competitor that saw my patch, there was nothing on it today, but if they saw my patch, they were like, you have Igor's fly. How did you get this? And we got it through someone else, and that's how, somebody gives to somebody. Maybe that person thinks it's somebody else's fly, but this is the man that invented this fly.
Yeah, and I am quite monothematic in my fly box with dries. I call it Rockerka carpet.
This is the carpet, and it ain't even shag pile. So the first time that I got to see this on my home river, which are really selective feeding browns, I said, oh no, you must use this because every local and every guide has its own favorite flies. And Igor rocks along his first ever visit in New Zealand. He said, I want to try Recurka. And I said, yeah, if you want, but I don't think it will work. Well, proved me wrong big time. And I still remember the dance that you did when you caught this big, huge Motu brown on your fly.
Yeah, it was when we were on the way to a rugby match.
Yeah.
Which you invite me. It was so nice because.
So we got to see the grand final, Crusaders versus Chiefs.
And it was on the playground was in the time 18s All Blacks.
Yeah.
So it never happened normally.
No.
Just 15, but 18. And I have photos with Aaron Cruden. There was Richie McCaw, my star. So it was really nice. Anyway, and on the Motu, I caught this buttery nice brown.
And I think at that point it was Igor's personal best brown on the fly that he invented. And so I couldn't get enough of this. I grabbed a few off him, went and bought a bag of high quality CDC, and now it's every day. It's in my fly box all the time, and it's a go-to fly for here in New Zealand. So, and across the world, there's many people using it, and you've probably seen it in a lot of books and online. But this is the man we give credit to, because we give credit where credit's due. So thank you from the fly fishing world for this fly.
This is my present to fly fishing world. Anyway, and for me it's all the time challenge when I am abroad to catch at least one fish on Rockerka.
We've seen that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Corey.
All
thank
good.
you for having me here.
Enjoy the rest of your holiday here in New Zealand, and we'll catch you up again next year.
Sure. Right. This fly is okay? Or Rockerka? Rockerka. Okay.
Are we going for a Rockerka?
Okay. But I have to change it.
So we're trying somewhere different. I've never actually fished the stream before. It's a little tannin stained stream. There's a fish rising under that tree. And guess what? We're going for some Recurkas.
Magic water.
Strike. Yes.
Rockerka.
What else?
Good. Woohoo! Rockerka, baby.
Beautiful little fish.
Let's go. Woohoo! Thank you, Corey, again.
Welcome back here to In Touch Fly Fishing. We're off the river now and we're in the fly tying den. So here we are, and as promised, we are going to present to you how to tie the Rockerka fly. The Igor Slavik, the brother from another mother's invention. So let's go through the list of ingredients or materials that are required to tie this fly. First of all, my favorite hook at the moment to tie this fly is the Phasma 310 Dry Nymph. Loving this hook, great holding ability, and it's barbless as well, which I've fished barbless myself personally for 15 years now, but it's becoming a more and more popular style of hook to use, so this is good for the Recurka. Secondly, the tail fibers will be Flashaboo. So a purpley green, greeny blue is Igor's favorite. When it comes to tying any fly, I don't go past the silk nano threads, and this from Techstream, the power thread. I just simply can't tie unless I'm tying with this style of thread, because you take care, you get all the way through the fly and your thread snaps and you've got to start again. or you've got to try and salvage the fly. So this material, while it's more expensive than others out there, is fail proof. I find it just, you'll bend a hook before you snap it. So. Following on from that, the most important part of this fly is the CDC. So good quality CDC, and I've got here a packet of Phasna CDC. So the trick here is to go through a packet of CDC and pick out the very best feathers that suit this fly. So big, thick and bushy. Usually find, today we'll be tying a number 12, and I usually find around 4 feathers, but it all depends on the quality of the feathers, the thickness of the feathers and the fiber. But with this packet that I have here today, we'll be looking at around 4 feathers. If you can only source smaller feathers, then you might just have to stack it a little bit more. These feathers will be stacked into a feather prepper or a stacker, and these are made of high density foam, and you can make your own. You can get a piece of high density foam and just cut a slot in it and stack the feathers into that, and we'll be showing you that as we go. Have little small slots in them, and depending on what size or how many feathers you're stacking, you can choose whether to use the small stacker or the large. Further to that, there's some pretty fancy clips out there for CDC fly tying, and while those are amazing to use, you can't really go past just the simple bulldog clip, and that's what we'll be using today. So we'll get started with the fly. So the first thing I'll do is just add a little blob of super glue. Just helps bind the thread to the shank and offer longevity to the fly. Start in the middle, work our way up to the top, and then dress our hook shank uniformly with the thread so it's completely covered all the way back just to the start of the bend. Grab one strand of flashabou, fold it in half, pinch wrap, a couple more wraps up towards the eye of the hook, and then back over, double it over and back. So we've got 4 strands. Now we'll just leave that as it is. Now we'll create our dubbing loop. And finish with the thread up near the eye, leave that hanging. Grab our dubbing twister, insert it into the loop. Now this is a product that I love to use for the CDC. It's a Loon High-Tax Wax, and it's really super sticky. So the lightweight feather, when you're inserting it out of the clip into the loop, doesn't fall out. So the idea is to stack up, for a size 12, it's around about 4 feathers, and just overlap them if you have to, just working off the feather size. We want to align the stems of the feather with the crack, because we don't want these stems creeping into our tie, because they can catch the fibers. And we'll just brush that out to get all the fibers nice and open and loosened up. Now we'll grab our bulldog clip and clip it as close to the stems as possible. Flex our piece of foam so we're not pulling the feathers out of the clip. And trim as close as we can, removing any of the stem of the fibre. We'll take our CDC that we've got in our bulldog clip, insert it into our dubbing loop, and twist. Just brush those fibers a little just to bug them out. Make sure we don't have any strands caught there, which we have one. Now this is a rotary vise and we could use that function, but I do prefer to just manually loop each rotation over, pulling back on the fibers as we work our way, overlapping each wrap. Take our bobbin again, just catch that dubbing loop, cut it off, tidy up those fibers, just brushing them back, catching them in, and we'll just run a series of half hitches just to tie this off. Grab our strands of flashabou, trim them up, and we'll brush the CDC out. Forwards, backwards, up, down. Pull the fibers back, anything that's longer, just rip them off. And there we have it. The Recurka. Thank you to Igor for his gift to the fly fishing world. Let's go fish.